Imagine gearing up for the worst urban disaster imaginable: blackouts, chaos, streets ruled by fear, and yet, you're making fatal mistakes that could cost you everything you care about. Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the hard truth. Nobody wants to admit prepping isn't just about what you have, it's often about what you're doing wrong. And the scariest part, these mistakes are so deeply woven into everyday city life. Probably don't even see the traps you're falling into. Most people think being prepared means buying the latest gear or hoarding food. But what truly separates survivors from victims are silent failures, eating away at your chances long before disaster even strikes. If you believe blindly trusting the system, relying on tech, or ignoring personal safety or minor details, it's time to rethink it. In this video, I break down 10 prepping fails that could cost you everything you need, how to avoid them before it's too late. Stick around till the end, because the final mistake will flip your entire idea of preparedness on its head. And no, it's not. If you want to truly survive urban chaos and keep your loved ones safe, you need to hear this now, before the unexpected shows up at your doorstep. Relying on the government during an urban crisis is like waiting for a bus that already crashed, hopeful but pointless. People grow up believing that if anything goes wrong, someone will show up to fix it. But let's be real, when the system collapses, it collapses hard. Look at Hurricane Katrina or the NYC blackout. People were stuck for days, sometimes weeks, without proper help. And the ones who suffered the most? Those who waited. The cold truth is this: when the grid fails, your survival depends not on promises, but on preparation. Picture this: the power's out. Water's dry, stores are raided, and there's a siren echoing somewhere down the block. You look around and your neighbors are still watching the news, on phones with 2% battery, waiting for an announcement that won't come. See, it's not just about what you have, it's about how you think. The mindset of "they'll fix it" is a trap. It breeds passivity in moments when action is everything. Having a basic plan, a 72-hour kit, a backup water source, these aren't paranoid moves. They're insurance for a world that's proven again and again it doesn't owe you rescue. There's a story from the trucker strike in Brazil. Within 3 days, fuel ran out, markets were empty, and folks started panicking. The government said, "Stay calm." But calm doesn't feed your family. Those who had food, water, fuel, those who had planned got by just fine. Everyone else, stuck in lines, begging, bartering, breaking down. And that's the dangerous part. People think prepping is about bunkers and camo pants, but really, it starts in your head. Because when the system goes quiet, the noise in your own house will be the only thing that matters. Just when you think you're ahead, there's another trap waiting around the corner. Most city folks have no clue how fast an urban landscape can turn into a maze of danger. They imagine evacuation like in the movies: neat lines of people, buses waiting, order everywhere. Reality check: when things go bad, roads clog in minutes, GPS becomes useless, and the only thing spreading faster than fear is bad information. Without an exit plan, you're gambling with time you don't have. And in cities, every wasted minute is like handing danger a head start. Imagine this: you step outside during a citywide blackout, and the streets are jammed with stalled cars, panicked drivers honking, people shouting, and cops waving traffic in circles. Your usual route home? Blocked? The bridge you thought you'd cross? Shut down? If you don't have at least 3 alternate routes mapped out, and I mean on paper. Not just your phone, you're already at the mercy of chaos. A solid evacuation plan is like a lifeboat. You never think about it until you're sinking, and by then, it's too late to build one. Here's the kicker: the best urban preppers practice early escape. They don't wait for the official go signal. They read the signs. In the streets, shelves clearing out, unusual police movement, and they move before the herd does. Think of it like catching an elevator before rush hour. You get out smoothly while everyone else is stuck elbow to elbow. But here's where most people trip. They might know how to leave, but they haven't thought about where they're heading next, and that's a mistake that can be just as costly: There's this strange comfort people get from buying fancy gear. It's almost like they think swiping a credit card is the same as gaining survival skills. You see it all the time. Someone drops hundreds on a high-end flashlight, tactical backpack, or water filter, but it still sits in the box, tags on, untouched. In a real emergency, that shiny gadget isn't a magic wand. If you've never tested it, you're betting your safety on something you hope works under pressure. Picture this: blackout hits. You dig out that expensive lantern you've been bragging about, only to find the batteries corroded months ago. Or you finally pull out your top-rated water filter, but the instructions look like they're written in ancient Greek. Hey, quality, yours great, but it's useless if you're fumbling with it when the clock's ticking. Urban survival doesn't reward the one with the biggest shopping list. It rewards the one who knows their tools like the back of their hand. Here's the rule: the pros live. Train with what you carry. If you've got a multi-tool, use it for small repairs around the house. If you've got a portable stove, cook dinner with it once a month. And don't just test gear on a sunny Saturday. Try it in the rain, in the dark, when you're tired. That's when flaws show up, and when you learn to adapt. But even knowing your gear inside out won't save you if you aren't physically and mentally ready for the stress that survival in the city throws at you in the city. Bless. People underestimate just how demanding survival can be. They think it's all about supplies and shelter, but when push comes to shove, your own body and mind are the first tools you'll use. If you can't carry a loaded backpack for more than a few blocks or climb several flights of stairs without stopping, you're at a disadvantage before the crisis even begins. And mentally, if you've never faced high stress before, the panic can paralyze you faster than any shortage. Think about it: urban disasters aren't polite. You might need to move fast through dark stairwells, dodge debris, or even carry someone else to safety. In those moments, no one's asking about your gym membership. They're asking if you can move. The same goes for mental resilience. When sirens blare, the air smells like smoke, and everyone's shouting. The ones who keep calm are the ones who make clear, life-saving decisions. That kind of control doesn't show up overnight. It's trained. Practical tip: start small, but start now. Walk instead of driving short distances. Take stairs instead of elevators. Learn controlled breathing for stress. Try a blackout drill at home. Turn off the power for a night and see how you handle the inconvenience. It's humbling. And when you combine physical readiness with mental clarity, you stop just surviving. You start leading. But even the strongest mind and body can be crippled if you've placed all your trust in something that might vanish the moment the grid goes down. Urban life runs on tech, and that's exactly why most people collapse when it fails. Phones, GPS, online banking, instant messaging, they're part of daily life until suddenly they're not. In a blackout or cyber-attic, the digital leash snaps, and those who depended on it for everything are left stranded. It's like watching a skilled gamer lose all their saved progress, except now the game is real, and losing means more than starting over. Picture it. Your phone battery dies, your bank app's offline, the ATMs are out, and the internet's a blank screen. Suddenly, you realize you don't even know the full address of your best friend's place without pulling it up online. Maps, no contacts, no way to verify news. That's the silent danger when technology becomes your memory, your compass, and your lifeline. You've traded self-reliance for convenience. And in a real crisis, convenience is the first luxury. To go, the smart preppers, they keep it balanced. Paper maps with marked routes, a written contact list, a small stash of cash, a battery-powered radio low-tech backups for high-tech failures. It's not about rejecting modern tools. It's about not being enslaved by them. Because when the Wi-Fi drops and the screens go dark, those who've prepared analog will still have a way forward. But even the best tools, digital or not, won't protect you if you've ignored the number. One threat in any urban collapse: personal safety in a city meltdown. The The biggest danger isn't always hunger or thirst, it's other people. When fear takes over, even ordinary neighbors can turn desperate, and desperation is unpredictable. Most folks walk around thinking it won't happen to me, until it does. They've never thought about how to protect themselves, how to avoid dangerous spots, or how to project the kind of presence that says, I'm not an easy target. In an urban survival, its presence is power. Imagine walking through a darkened street after a blackout, shadows move in the distance. Voices echo off the walls and you can't tell who's harmless and who's not. If you're distracted, head down or obviously lost, you're practically sending out invitations. The pros know this. Awareness is your first layer of defense. It starts with keeping your head up, scanning your surroundings, and trusting your instincts. Combine that with some basic self-defense skills, and you've already cut your risk in half. Practical moves? Learn a few defensive techniques, boxing basics, Krav Maga, or even just how to break a grip. Carry an EDC item for protection, a sturdy flashlight, a tactical pen, or pepper spray where legal. And don't underestimate verbal defense sometimes. Confidence in your tone is enough to diffuse trouble. But here's the catch. Personal safety isn't just about you. If your home, supplies, or family are exposed, they become targets too armed. That's where another critical urban prepping mistake comes into play. In an urban crisis, food and water aren't just survival essentials, they're currency. And the moment people realize you have them, you're on their radar. One of the most common mistakes preppers make is showing off their supplies or storing them in obvious places. You might think you're safe because you know your neighbors, but fear and hunger change people fast. In desperate times, even friends can become competition. Picture it. The water's been off for 4 days. Grocery shelves are empty, and your building is whispering about someone upstairs who still has food. If they mean you, it won't be long before you hear a knock that isn't really asking. That's why discreet storage is vital. Keep your supplies in plain-looking containers, split them between locations, and avoid posting pictures of your pantry online. In survival, secrecy isn't paranoia, it's protection. And water? It's the most overlooked and yet most critical resource. You can last weeks without food, but only days without water. Urban preppers should store bottled water. Keep a filtration method handy, and no hidden refill spots in the city. Even better, rotate your stock regularly, so it's always fresh. But here's the twist. Even with supplies secured, going it completely alone can be just as dangerous as being unprepared at a city crisis. Going solo might sound heroic, but in reality, it's a gamble with terrible odds. One person can't. Stay awake 24/7, guard supplies, gather resources, and still think clearly. That's why the most effective urban survivors build a trusted network long before disaster strikes. It doesn't have to be a huge group, just a few reliable people who share skills, information, and watch each other's backs. Imagine a blackout lasting 2 weeks. In one neighborhood, everyone stays locked in their apartments, isolated and guessing what's going on. In another, a small group has formed. One person cooks, another stands watch, another scouts for supplies. That second group doesn't just survive, they thrive compared to the scattered individuals. Strength in numbers isn't just a saying, it's a strategy. But building a network isn't about handing out trust like candy. It's about slowly identifying people who show reliability in normal times. Maybe it's the neighbor who always lends a tool, the friend who knows first aid, or the coworker who's good with repairs. Create quiet agreements, no need for flashy prepper clubs. And yet, even the strongest group can be brought to its knees if they overlook a silent but deadly threat that most urban dwellers never prepare for when people think of survival. They picture food, water, maybe a weapon. Most no one thinks about the bathroom until it's too late. In a city grid-down scenario, sanitation is one of the first systems to collapse. Toilets stop flushing, garbage piles up, and suddenly the air smells different, and not in a good way. What most don't realize is that poor waste management isn't just gross, it's dangerous. Disease can spread faster than hunger ever will, Picture a high-rise, where the water's been off for a week. People start dumping waste in stairwells or plastic bags thinking it's temporary. Within days, pests arrive. Within a week's stomach, bugs turn into full-blown sickness sweeping through the building. This isn't a medieval problem, it's a modern urban one. And yet, with a little foresight, it's completely preventable. Urban preppers keep it simple. Heavy-duty trash bags, portable toilet or bucket system, bleach or lime for neutralizing waste, gloves for handling trash. For garbage, separate. Food waste from other trash to control pests. Don't forget personal hygiene baby wipes, hand sanitizer, and soap can be literal lifesavers. Still, sanitation is just one piece of the puzzle, because even if you master this, there's one final urban prepper mistake that can undo everything you've worked for at Nile is the silent killer of preparedness. It creeps in slowly, whispering, "This won't happen to me," or "My city is safe." But history has a way of humbling even the most confident. From wildfires in California to floods in Europe, the unexpected strikes without warning or preference. The real danger isn't the disaster itself, it's the mindset that blinds you until the sirens are already wailing. Think of denial like a slow poison. It stops you from buying that extra bottle of water, from learning basic first aid, or even from keeping an emergency bag by the door. People who live in denial often scramble last minute, overwhelmed and confused. It's a losing game because preparation isn't just about stuff, it's about mindset. The moment you accept that disaster can come to your doorstep, you've already won half the battle. The paradox is this: accepting vulnerability feels scary, but it's the gateway to true strength. The sooner you acknowledge the risks, the sooner you start building resilience both for you and your loved ones. Because the truth is harsh. Disaster doesn't care about your comfort zone. And if you keep pretending it won't happen, you're betting against reality. But that's not where this story ends. Now that you know the 10 fatal mistakes that could cost you everything in an urban crisis, it's clear prepping isn't just a choice, it's a responsibility. The real question is, will you keep leaving your fate to chance, or will you take action today to turn the tables? Think about what you can change this week. Is your prep truly foolproof? Do you have the right tools and mindset to face chaos when it hits? What about you? Which of these mistakes have you made or seen someone else make? Drop a comment, share your story or questions. This isn't just about saving yourself, it's about building a stronger, safer community. If you want to learn more, stay ahead of the chaos and protect what matters. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any content. Remember, the difference between those who survive and those who don't starts with the prep you begin today. So, what are you going to do now?